country into a political turmoil. He was later impeached by Parliament and detained to face trial. Yes. You tried to steal the fucking election. That means you're a traitor. You should be removed from office, and you should have all power stripped from you, and best case scenario, spend the rest of your life in a fucking prison.
Okay. The buttons have been pushed. The information has been read. The content is here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is 4:15 p.m. in the afternoon, evening, on Sunday, January 18th, 2026. It is yet again the time of the day where I come to you through your ear coochies, and I nut all over your house and couch, as it is the Yap-In with Carl, number 36. It is already the middle of the funky-ass new year, and we are in this bitch. Not even last night, but night before last. The last thing we rejoined you with, because I had things I needed to do and places I had to go this week, was we rejoindered for the gut-busting gut buster. That was Papa Gut going full retard on content he could have confirmed was the case before burying the lead and his credibility because he wanted to spurg about his disillusionments with Caleb Hammer. Then the PIP will be tomorrow. We've already done one episode of the PIP again, which will be at 4 p.m. on Monday. We also had different news stories come in this week, as well as different news stories that we were looking into. Last time, I did say while we were live that there was content happening about Turkey Tom, and we have in fact seen more content about that. But most importantly, we've actually gotten information from none other than the fucking Smash community. And it is disapparating in real time. Because player after player and influencer after influencer and competitor after competitor are all dropping out of the scene and will not be seeking any type of travel to events and tournaments in 2026. Because all the main characters of the fucking player base have either died or have no interest in being the energy that carries it. What a sight to see. What a fucking sight to see. And as for the accusations of Turkey Tom, we've gotten confirmation of the material being real. So he, in fact, did do that shit. But we also have a little bit of some side drama coming up because of the fact that people have not covered the stories the way that they have been, quote, told to cover the stories. Specifically, the rush of Chud Logic to cover the story, which he did, making him look like a cannibal to his cooperatives. And amongst people like Tommy C, not wanting to look into the story and choosing to wait so that they can be able to receive more information, having this come to a revelation as it seems that everyone is backstabbing and turning their back on everyone. Cameron 305 making comments and trying to blackball and blacklist towards people like Nicholas Diorio speaking on whatever it is he wishes to speak about on the matter. Multiple people on all sides effectively showing that nobody wishes to touch it because it's a clique that's basically imploding on itself. And anyone in the middle that's just posturing for views, basically deciding to go with the flow. It is an interesting development if we do look into and say so ourselves. For what it's worth, it's very confusing. So there's a bunch of shit here that you have to just take on its chest. But for what it is actually worth, what it's actually involved in, it's some shit. It is some shit. And as it is some shit, no one wants to clean it up. There's other news. There's other news stories and information too. There have been videos that have been presented to me to be consumed and watched. We'll get into some of that content today. I would prefer to wait to do them on weekdays, but I was specifically asked to look into a video called Sopulism. We will possibly look into that content live today. But most importantly, we're here to talk to you, chat. The links are posted, they're marked and pinned. Click the button if you're lazy to go in, or come into the Discord, make your call in, join the Yap-In, yak my fucking ear off. Regardless, all things said and done, all material benefits having been addressed, how is everyone doing today? How do you find the nappy one tonight? I'm looking at an internal chat room and I'm watching people attack each other. HonkSHOO, HonkSHOO, HonkSHOO. Thoughts on the recent Reddit mod meltdown from Stale 2000? Redditors need beatings. That is my answer. Go forth, commit my will, fulfill my black gospel. currently in Helldivers 2. It's like if the internet enables the worst people. Well, you see, some people have sunken cost fallacy. And they don't necessarily want to get off of what they used to do. Nothing we can do about that. Nothing I can do about that, actually. Let me correct myself. Nothing I can do about that. The worst thing that I have ever done is nothing. The worst thing I've ever done is nothing. I haven't beaten anyone. I haven't raped anyone. I haven't assassinated anyone. I haven't sexually assaulted anyone. The worst that could possibly be in my ledger is I have told a white woman, don't do something that I told you not to do. And 2 counts of opening myself up to a person who then demonstrated they did not understand the rules on boundaries going both ways. One being more recent than the other. That's it. And if it were to be discussed publicly, those 2 examples that I'm speaking on, you would then have a non-stop litigation of emotion. And I'm not going to discuss overly emotional women. Can't do it. I'm not interested. I'm not going to have a debate about that. Because then it becomes a game of he said, she said. And that is not interesting. And is not necessary. So the only thing I can do in that constant for both cases is to respect their privacy. But I doubt that mine would be respected. So basically, black man chooses to have emotions, be punished. That's basically it. Same as it ever was. And yeah, so Leaping Lemur is just one case of many. There are many influencers that have done bad behavior. Multiple bad influencers that have done bad behavior that sometimes go under the radar because it's just not on people's radar. Sometimes getting away with it because they were smaller figures. And then when they become bigger figures, it's like, did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? How am I doing? My wrist is fucked. But then again, this is the hand that always cracks because it's the one I used to use to punch people. Tried to level up my account in Eternal Return so I can get closer and closer to doing ranked. My ranked experience, or rather I should say my game-to-game experience, is sometimes sub-poor. Because in Eternal Return, just like it is in any game that has a lobby-based MOBA-ish-like experience, when I want to play a character that I would like to get more experience on, I cannot play the character well enough to get the situations for the experience I'd like to develop, because every time there's a frontline character that needs to do the job, they can't perform. They can't do their job for shit. They either can't play the frontline, or they can't shot call, or when they're asked to do something, yapping, talking, debating, arguing. And if I play the frontline, they fall apart, they can't do their job. They don't know how to function. Because they're moving in molasses. Medium to high APM game, person goes to team-based APM game, cannot function, gets mad at the person asking them, hey, can you try not AFKing? Outside of that, I'm waiting on information for my legal documentation for my job payment system. Natasha went to a baby shower for the roommate's sister. She's going to be going to Atlanta to go visit a friend and is going to drag along Kasog. The personal friend group is thriving. Kasog is having a wonderful time hanging out with Isha. Isha dyed her hair. Most of the people in the Discord are getting along with each other. The culture of the server is forming up the way that I would like it to. The culture is developing. The community is thriving. We've done 4 community gaming nights now on Thursday, and they've gone with some level of success, although I'd like us to group together faster. I believe the start time that I should post for it, if it's not noon, should probably be 4 p.m., so that people have the time to actually come around. Making it standard, making it common, making it frequent. Other content is coming down the line that we actually have material for Yap-Ins, and we have material for versus chats. People are learning how to use the posting feature in this Discord so they can post their news stories. Because I will not remember if you come in chat and say, Carl, did you hear, did you hear, did you hear? Because it designed that system specifically for people to do that. Almost all the shit that I usually keep up on the up and up is kind of like going in the direction I'd like it to. That's about how I'm like doing, but I'm usually doing to begin with. In the experience of an internet content creator, my state of mind is an effective system state of, or that's some fucking bullshit. Usually I bounce somewhere between the two things. I was listening in to Dev's Yap-In. We had conversations about things. Devin did things that made multiple people say that he's acting like a retard. I choose to reserve my opinion at this moment. But I effectively explained that a lot of a problem that has happened inside of culture is that you have people from various standpoints effectively not participating in culture and deciding to just ignore the underhanded tactics of certain types of groups that would try to move the needle in a particular way, effectively being a non-starter conversation for most people. Explained that I'm effectively a disaffected moderate that is left or right or generally in the center of most political aspirations that deals with this because it's just how the black dialectic chooses to consume content and behavior. And I was told verbatim, I wouldn't call you a moderate lol. Never got an answer. Still probably won't get an answer. Haven't gotten an answer from my DMs to him about something that was expressed by other people hearing me talk about it. To him, don't know what to tell you. Grown men are grown men. I'm not going to micromanage grown men. If I have to speak on it, I'm going to say things that are not nice. I'm instead going to choose to be civil and nice. But, as I had discussed before, in that 1 week last year, like 6 weeks ago, about the state of clearing my calendar and clearing some people who are definitely not making moves that I agree with. It's in that vein and direction. Movements have already occurred and happened. Eagle-eyed people who are here in the community will notice one of the examples has already come to pass. I'm not speaking on what. You'll notice. But, in the terms of most stuff, like, there are some personal setbacks, there are some business setbacks, but everything's generally moving forward. It's like 2 steps back, 15 steps forward. Both in terms of things to improve my life materially and directly, as well as things that are going to have a trickle-down effect for the rest of you all. Some basic lessons, some life lessons, some etc. shit, you know? So in the moderate sense, it's all like going in a trending direction of what I would like, but maybe not necessarily the way that I would like it to develop. But it's really up to one's opinion. It's really up to one's opinion if you really want to get down to brass tacks about it. However, I was about to bring you in, Saf. Oh, there's one thing that hasn't gone my way. I'm out. But as it is the case that would of things that I'd like to further improve going my way. The Yap-In has effectively, like, kind of sort of replaced my original Fried Chicanery podcast. Something that I would like to properly launch as a standalone product. I need to, like, go through several steps to put that thing where it needs to be. Like, get it onto multiple platforms. I want it on Apple. I want it on Spotify. I want it on the other shit. And then just wiring it back into my direct channel. The historic archives on the other broadcasts will still continue to exist, but one of the things that I definitively am doing this year is that I'm going to, not going to put a pause on it, but I'm going to do most of the ideas that I keep intending to want to do with other people. I'm going to do them open-ended, but I'm going to start with them myself alone. That's one of the things that's currently happening. From my viewpoint, to elucidate you to the inside of my world, I have an ex-friend that decided to hate another friend of mine, and decided that because I didn't join the fuck that guy side, that he decided he was going to contaminate and poison himself. And then poised himself against me and everyone else around him, to the point that he is now pissed off even my other female friend, who had to hear about his bullshit, who has told him to his face, possibly, I assume she told him to his face, but has effectively gotten annoyed with, and has explained and expressed to his face that just because you have a racial fetish for black women doesn't mean I gotta hear about your bullshit. That has then caused me that when another person, longtime friend and longtime audience member of the community, feels that he doesn't have the ability and the right to be here because he's isolated himself with work and business, that he doesn't feel like he can socialize, I actively have to pull him back into the fold. Because he's talking nonsense. What do you mean you don't deserve to belong here? Just because you've been at work. Just because you haven't been able to go down to the pub don't mean everybody didn't remember your name, nigga. And other such examples of this as well as continuing to touch bases and interact and engage with other people. Like earlier this morning, which is why we're starting now instead of usually when I start at like fucking 12. I was discussing and explaining to Cassie the extension of the Papa Gut shit as it pertains to Minnesota. And there was a content creator by the name of the PlayStation Gamer that was there that basically we discussed and heard shit and was talking back and forth about on the level of the exacerbation of the issue. And it was to the degree and the detriment of a normal conversation that a person can have about this kind of content, that we ended up getting to the nitty-gritty of shit that was basically on the same page of what I intended as the conversational point for what I wanted for my WIC debate. And we had the literal conversation, which we did not have on the WIC debate. Which, literally every single marketing point that is related to both Minnesota and also that topic went as exactly as it would have gone in a normal conversation with people who actually engage in the business and culture. Which, satisfying. And then all the other examples of people coming to me and being like, I heard that this is where the nappy one is. Can I get a taste? Can I get a titch? And just naturally getting people to come in and just actually engage in normal shit. Where before they'd be like, nah, it's not the time. I don't have the ability to do the thing. I've been doing all this shit of my own volition without necessarily having to tie in another creator or another person or another figure. There's some stuff that I have to. Like, I want to bring in educated people that are very aware of certain things so that they may be a part of the discourse, so that for the people who have no context, they then have a source reference to engage with that are also crossovers with other audiences, like that of Devon's. That's why Boomer is in the PIP content. Stuff like that, I will not lean on, but I will request their presence. But for almost everything else that I'm doing it myself, because I'm tired of waiting. The cadence in which I want things to happen are not happening with the ball rolling the way that I would like it to. Which, to describe what I feel like, it is a very annoying experience. Planning things out and wanting to make sure that people can get the ball rolling in time so that you have a lot of lead up and energy going into an event, so you have hype and circumstance built up around things, that when people decide to not do that because they think it's somebody else's job, it is very fucking frustrating and irritating. So I'm doing more work to cut frustration out of my day in life, and I'm just doing it myself. I'm building the fucking anticipation myself. I'm building the energy myself. I'm doing the promos and the cuts for the wrestling shit myself. Because if I don't fucking do it, it's not getting done. And it's not going to get done the way that I would like it to be done. It's not going to always go the same way as if the audience had built their energy with it. Because it's an attention and an energy issue, not a engagement issue. But for the most part, it's working out better than it was last year by choosing to do this. What's going to happen because of this, however, especially when you hear me talk about it, it's going to be like, wow, when did Carl get mean and aggressive? Boo, nigga! I've always been this way. I'm just choosing to not spurn people from the opinion. And by saying the opinion, that doesn't mean that there's no discussion. It just means you asked me an answer, and instead of me saying, damn, nigga, I don't know what to tell you, I'm telling you what I know. And then we keeping it pushing. No time to save feelings for dumbasses. Everybody will be on the page. Fetish for black women. Fetish for black women. The person that I was describing, Axel Crusher, has a fetish for black women. And he believes that because he wants black pussy, that means that the black friend that he had in question should tolerate his hatred of the mutual that I refuse to backstab just on the nature of wanting to be anti-them, and that actually they have redeeming qualities and that they're a good person because they want to fuck black women. A very weird fetish, if you ask me. I'm a good person because I fuck black pussy. That's like saying, hey, that's like saying, hey, yo, I'm a good person because I fuck white women. It's like, is that the important part that matters, nigga? Are you sure? Okay. I'm like, weird ass shit. No, Exo Crusher's not the person doing it. The person I was describing. The person that I was describing that has gone the way of becoming basically a foot soldier for somebody else's campaign and war online, parasocially, has this fetish for black women. That he is cripplingly, come on, Carl, get on that Kai Cenat era. Sound it out, nigga. Hooked on phonics. Cripplingly addicted to fetishizing black bodies. So that he is not a bad person because of the fact that he is invested in this forever war, parasocially involving other people. That means his personal friend, that is also a black woman, should hear him out, because that means that he's a good person, even though it is some pure inceldom, which is something I do not accuse people of, and I do not take lightly. It's kind of sad, because we did have a incel in the community, Richard, but unfortunately Richard decided to break the rules, and he's no longer here anymore. It is very much a case of what happened with what's his name? It's always slipped out of my mind. Because it's like I can only do so much. Y'all are grown. I have made my audience 18 plus. If there are any children here, they have not made their presence known and are wary enough to have the intention and the wherewithal to be intelligent, which we will figure it out eventually. But my audience is 18 plus. Most people here are adults. Most people here pay bills. Most people here got fucking issues and have things to look out for and things to consider in their lives. Some of them have day jobs. Some of them have night jobs. Some of them got kids. We are grown adults here. Should be capable of handling basic things. We don't got time for the petty shit. How is us talking about the Path of Exile 2 patch gonna save the black race? Listen now, Exo Crusher. There are so many ways in which that is actually saved. Not the fucking second win private league, though. After the first, 3 weeks, the market economy has completely become over-fucking inflated. Overly fucking inflated. Because they just did the same thing that happened in Trade League inside of this league. And now everything is inflating by the divine cost week after week and even hour after hour and day after day. Because so much in currency is flooding into the marketplace. But hey, The build that I started with actually functions and works. Never mind the fact that I was forced to start the league late because of mi madre, and therefore I missed out on basically $1,200 worth of PayPal bounties. Still had fun, still having fun, but it is what it is. Setting up to start doing other pivots and playing other video games as is. Because I'm not sure that I'm going to even play the Exile 1 League that's going to be coming up in like a month and a half in its development cycle. So we'll probably have something like a once human pivot if we don't have a pivot into a private server game such as Toontown Online or Mappa Pro. Because I did discuss on Mappa Pro with the players that were there that I was going to start bringing you guys in because of the stuff. And also, the War Bond that is coming out, that Stealth Bundle, Commando Bundle War Bond on Helldivers 2, man, that shit looks so good, but wow, I can't believe that something was broken, so they had to delay it. I bet them niggas are mad! I bet they're fucking upset and frustrated. Unironically. Because it's like, oh my god, C4? And then they're like, oh, you're making us wait. HonkSHOO, 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 HonkSHOO. Not even to mention the actual real Dialectic that's in the thumbnail. How does it feel, African Americans and minorities in the chat room? How does it feel if you're not a person who believes in that alt-left grift, that you're a racial wolf because you saw something like Ironheart and you decided, actually, this isn't worth my time or investment, and because of that, you're now a racial bigot? Because you ain't sucking on that Birdman titty. Suddenly, you're an evil racial bigot. Do I get my erase card soon? I don't know. I don't care. But I don't know. Not even to mention the cultural Marxism. The alleged cultural Marxism that doesn't exist, guys. It's just Jews. Allegedly. Allegedly. It's just Jews. There's never been social market manipulation. There's never been other shit. What's in the thumbnail? What's in the thumbnail? The thumbnail. It's in the thumbnail, Exo Crusher. Must I put the thumbnail on the screen? I swear you guys don't read these thumbnails. Literally what's in the thumbnail. As I was saying, people choosing to come to you and come to us and say, actually, there is no cultural Marxism. We've never had things. These people just believe that this Marxist Leviathan that they think exists isn't just middle-aged autists being annoying because they treat transsexuals as a weird bug. Because it means that there's actually be first, second, third, and fourth order magnitude consequences for manipulating pop culture for nearly 30 fucking years. There's never been a time where politics has been able to invest into the marketplace. It's always just been people with money and Jews, apparently. Boobadoop. Thank you for the 30, Buster. A Mao. At least you're honest, Widwin. At least you're honest. Is there an alpha racist in the pack, or do we activate it like a werewolf? Apparently, you hear the accusation and you turn into a lycanthropic bigot. That's how it works, apparently. So, between the cultural example of the television scene and the cultural example of the gaming scene, there are people who are disinterested in actually engaging in the culture of the hobby. Because everything basically melts down to, I hate the chuds, therefore I will lie about them, and if I don't like them, I will continuously say, this thing has happened, and if you deny it, you are actually one of the incel racial bigots. It is a very crazy thing that continues to bring itself up time and time again, that then brings more involvement and more investment into the marketplace example of most discussions about the culture. It is actually weird how it continues to happen. But, you know, whether it be 40K or gaming in general or the culture of online discussion about television shows and movies, it is to the detriment of all people involved. that there is a discussion about what I'm calling HonkSHOO-Ass discourse. Mogging Custodes. That's what happened. Me personally, I'm super eye-rolling over the HonkSHOO-Ass culture dialectic that is the forever conversation. Certainly, certain people that I could describe are an example of individuals that are too hyper-focused on one side of the margin that they have distracted themselves from the entire conversation. But the entire discourse of everything effectively melts down to, if you don't see my viewpoint, you must be an evil person. And it's just HonkSHOO, 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 HonkSHOO. I can't understand, and I'm not really interested in debating it. I don't think many people are interested in debating it. Because it's a nothing burger. It's just personally a nothing burger. If you disagree, call into the show. Set me right. Set me straight. But I am super disinterested in the contiguous HonkSHOO-Ass debate about how shit is and isn't, but at the same time, it's never been worse, but it's never been better. Because outside of general content, especially on the internet, it is the energy that we have found ourselves with people that are not engaging with the majority of our culture. And they are not engaging with the majority of anything particularly relevant to the culture, that it puts us in a position that I wonder deeply if they are prepared for what comes next for having been lazy about the culture this way. It's very much a me-ass thing, but I'm of the opinion it should be so simple to truthfully be able to understand and fix. If you look at the miniatures, you can't even tell that they're female. True. Is public discourse even salvageable? Yes, but you're not going to be able to do it unless you're talking directly to the person in question. That's my belief. My belief is that you have to get people to engage directly. Otherwise, discourse is impossible. Because they're only ever going to speak from their standpoint. So, getting them to come out of the bubble is going to be impossible unless you're really capable of making them sit down and really talk it out. Which I'm of the opinion that many people don't want to do. Many people do not want to talk it out, actually. They would rather stay in the cave. And we're not talking about the chuds. We are not talking about the chuds. I'm over the name calling, I'm over the insults, I'm over the half-finished conversations, I'm over people speaking hastily, I'm over all of it. To be quite serious, I'm over all the shit. How about this statement from a pal of mine years ago? Internet is like radiation. The deeper and longer you're in it, the more it bounds to fuck you over. That's the state of any system that has enough people involved in it that they have stakes in the game. Certainly, yes. like the material state of things that exist on the ground when it comes to actual discussions with people about things that are the subject matter of business, industry, and culture, they're going to have the same reflection as a normal conversation about anything that has any kind of layover in this similar way, down these regards. And it is the case that you are going to find people that are going to have those opinions, and they're going to have those viewpoints, and they're going to have those conversations. Whether there are people who wish to accept the fact that they are going to have to accept it, whether they like it or not. If there are people that are having the discussion and they decide to empty the space of the conversational field because they decided that this is a verboten conversation that we're not going to, quote, have forehead, they will cede the ground where people will have the conversation without them. And if they don't like it, tough shit. You ceded the ground for the conversation to happen. You decided it was not in your interest to discuss it. And so, since you didn't want to discuss it, it was discussed without you. I would hate to say that that should be as simple and open and closed as it is, but that's really where you gotta go with it. Like, it is to the annoyance and to the degree of annoyance that I am tired, and there are other people who are tired of people of not engaging with the conversations and not engaging in the content in the medium that people are choosing to speak on. And this desire to not engage has put us in a position where shit can't get done. For what it is worth, I wish it were as simple as, well, bro, that's just your opinion, man. You're engaged in something that isn't necessarily realistic. But it's like, no, it's not, actually. This is happening everywhere all the time, all at once. It's happening everywhere all the time, all at once. But yeah, the Warbond. I like how everyone's going to say, finally, we can do stealth, when I know that they will still just go with louds with C4. True, 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 true. Big true! Big true! 40k people should tell their fans what they want to do instead of going around the question. The 40k people should tell their fans what to do. I don't know why it double posted that. But it is the case that Games Workshop, if you want to describe it the way that people are doing it, Games Workshop is making a very interesting doing a very interesting bungle. There is a post here that I had on the timeline that pretty much expresses the point that people have with the game. Yep, found it. There is a very simple point of matter when it comes to the point of order with discussing that really amounts the context right here. This goes out to the tourists thinking that they've won with Games Workshop. Normal people gate kept you successfully. You burned down your own village on your side of the gate. Don't confuse self-immolation for victory. The company's position on the matter doesn't change that. When the smoke clears, we'll still have Warhammer. You'll have the ashes of Games Workshop. It is the case that in the terms of a business deciding that a creator is going to basically destroy its marketplace share with original customers that paid for everything, similar to Dungeons & Dragons, similar to Trench Warfare, similar to any company, any group, any business that decides to go all in on hating a protagonized out-group to prefer their political in-group, it is the case that you're basically looking at what I've talked about multiple times before, which is a parallel society that is being built up on the culture of people who are actually engaging with each other directly versus the individuals that find themselves antagonizing each other with little to nothing to show for it. It is the case example that when this comes up in this conversation, that they are dealing with people that effectively cannot actually invest themselves of the topic because they are engaging in the material in such a way that they are reflecting this, I hate the people who consume our content, but I love the people who are poisoning it, background effect. Because of the desire to effectively hate people that are a part of an unnecessary in-group, they have created a viewpoint where people are supporting the ideals of something that they can no longer speak towards. And it is very funny. It is very funny that it's happening. Because, as we've discussed before, what will happen is that it will metastasize and they're going to have to pick. Do you want to be a part of this scene? Do you want to be a part of this business and industry? And if they're not able to actually be a part of that concept, they are going to directly result in the thing going tits up. It's going to be great. It's going to be funny. Because they won't be able to blame other people for this thing happening. They'll have to say, this was our fault. This happened because we decided we were going to push out people that we decided were not fans. And the not fans are going to have to make sense for why the nice, safe, and empty space no longer has people engaging in it. And it's because they killed it. Blah. Do you think it'll come sooner than later? It's already happening. The parallel society is already happening, Pip. When people start segregating themselves into cultural enclaves where dumb fucking hyper-aggressive tourist leftists are going to try and antagonize somebody like myself on a debate claiming that the reality of market and business doesn't happen because they can't make the connection and don't want to make the jump because it means that there's a first, second, and third order magnitude to cultural Marxism destroying a business, then it is the case that that bubble that bursted during COVID is going to pop again. And when it pops in the political landscape, we're going to sit here saying, "Aw, that's crazy. You mean if you import infinity problems to a group that you don't have second and first and third order magnitude problems that happen to the people who live there? Damn, bro, I guess you might as well move from over there to here and not bring those problems over here again." And you just hold your hands up and you're like, "Damn, nigga, that's crazy." Realistically, what even happens is that in most people's cases, just like the people who are going to complain in the culture of a video game like Helldivers, you just filter them out. You just filter them out. That's what you have to do. You have to filter them out. You basically have to stringently test them. And this is not the harass them angle. It's not a bully them angle. It's not a fuck with them until they disappear angle. It's a question them. Have the conversation. When they leave the space and they abdicate the conversation and say, "I refuse to talk," that is how you get them out. Okay, you refuse to talk, you refuse to engage, you refuse to be involved, go the fuck over there, and when things happen, just like if you didn't vote, shut your ass up! And that's how you solve it. People who choose to engage and have the conversation, they can argue, they can disagree however the fuck they want. The moment you walk out the door and you throw a temper tantrum, you decide the conversation ends when I decide, get the fuck out! Don't come back! The door is always open, but if you're on the outside of the door and we don't want to hear it, we can just close the door. We're not going to slam it in your face. I'm not going to slam it in your face. But I will close the door slowly. That, for most people, is aggressive. But that's where we're at right now. That's certainly where I am at right now. I've always been there, but I've always been the person to hold my arms open and welcome people in. The only thing I'm doing now is I'm shoulder checking bitches. I'm barging a bitch like Warrior Wan 3. Again, if somebody disagrees with this, call in, log into the server, come into the live broadcast, come and debate it with me, tell me how I'm wrong, tell me where I'm going wrong, tell me what I don't see. But I can doubt very highly that that is going to happen. I can doubt very highly that it's going to happen. And the reason why is because people are not going to have the conversation. People have gotten too accustomed to not having the conversation and using the non-existence of the conversation as justification for why it's not a big deal. Which in and of itself is cope. In and of itself, it is directly cope. Could you imagine if a Redditor mod was recently covered by Charlie White would come to your podcast to smack talk? I would not be surprised, but I would be interested in where the conversation would go. I doubt it would happen, because very often as we realize, and as we have noticed, most tourists are wrong and loud. They are never going to confront other people about these viewpoints. They're not going to go to these places and confront these viewpoints. They would rather exist by themselves in an echo chamber and not discuss this with other people. I have never purported myself to an echo chamber. I have always allowed and I have always gone looking for outside opinions and outside thoughts, and it is the case that nobody is going to show me the example of the things in which I'm asking for. It's very disappointing, but that is where we are. It's very depressing, to be serious. Because it's like, I would imagine that somebody would have some spine about this, but nobody has any spine about this. It's just like, whatever, dog. Did I choose? No, I did. No, I didn't. I used two hands. Kappa. I fucked my own burnt jerker value. I flat out am like, if you want to ironically agree with people like Anita or JDA, I will flat out invalidate that person and tell others not to listen to them. What you should do, Pip, instead of doing that, because obviously the example is that we know that Anita Sarkeesian's conclusion is false. We know that JDA's conclusion and his subterfuge is false and fake and gay. You give them the opportunity to argue the case. And if they cannot be able to support the logic of the argumentation, you demonstrate that you know what they're saying is hot shit. You don't disallow them to talk, you don't disallow them to engage, you just demonstrate that we know that the argumentation is hot shit. And you go from there. No, yes I did. I have 4 discards apparently. No, I have 3. Because the truth of the matter will eventually out itself. The truth of the matter, every time it can be discussed with other people who are a part of the same culture, is that it will be discussed, and it will be revealed, and it will be considered. No, I was right. I do have 4 discards. And it will be revealed as it outs. It's like whenever someone says The Last Jedi was actually good, they automatically lose the argument. Something like that, yes. But it's like they lose the argument, and then your job is to ask them, so tell me why you think The Last Jedi is good. That's what you do. You don't just say, ha, you think The Last Jedi is good. Your argument is dumb. Because that's also gay and retarded. What you do is you have the discussion, and you then sit up in your chair and you're like, tell me why you think The Last Jedi is good. You go with them on the journey of the conversation, and you attempt to bring them to where you're trying to get to. Because nobody likes when somebody's like, oh, because I think this thing, that means I'm no longer allowed to have a conversation to speak with you about it. Okay, go fuck yourself. Nobody ever likes that. That is always annoying, no matter who does it. That is the thing that people who are obsessed with winning do. You should not do that. That is seeding the ground for why people do not engage. You should instead speak to it and speak on it from a matter where you are demonstrating it is more than a game. If you treat it like it's a game, then people are not going to care. And that is a material failure on the part of the people who are treating it like it's a game. It's not a game. It is our society. It is our culture. It is our people. It is our way of life. It is our business. Therefore, ergo, it is our job to do right by said business. If we don't do right by said business, we are doing an utmost failure to the people that matter most, which should be the people at heart. My nose is itchy. My nose is itchy. So effectively what you're advocating for is grassroots work. Yes. You have to do the grassroots work, but we also have to do it in literal large swaths at a time. It is effectively an intervention, but we're not doing it the nice way. We're not using kind, soft, calming language. We're doing the rough and tumbles nature. We're doing the rough and tumble nature of the ability to have an intervention about the issue. Because being nice has not solved the conversion. Being nice has not gotten people to stop letting the goblins in the gate. More must be done. I should have bought this and then sold it. We did have that, but we unfortunately didn't just keep it. Well, we have the ability to maintain it again. It's just that we don't have it in the original society and culture. We have it in the parallel society that has been made with people who are like-minded. So, the same conversation we've had before about the culture being rotted out and effectively has nothing left for it, it's still that same conversation. It's just that then having this discussion with them in another place and another time, you are looking at the bombed out hulls of what used to be, using the example of 40K, the bombed out hull of what used to be Games Workshop that is now contaminated by rad roaches. People from the old world trying to subsist in the future created by people being aggressively exorbitantly annoying about how they tried to say what real culture is. That's what we have. We still have the ability to maintain it. We still have the ability to keep it. It just requires us to do some extra steps. Do some extra work. Otherwise, shit looking grim. Super duper duper grim. Can a nigga get some fraud? 13. 21. Really do hope and pray that it's not too late and we can still steer clear of the proverbial ship into safer waters. It all starts from a community, bro. It all starts from a community. As long as it starts from a community, it's always capable of being preserved, because you will always have a place that acts as a lifeboat. If it doesn't start from here, then it's completely fucked. And you might as well give up and give in. If you're particularly black-pilled, that is. If you're not particularly black-pilled, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Boom, boom, boom. Now, of course, part of this caveat is that in order to have that conversation, you have to be patient. I cannot express this enough. You have to be patient. 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 Moving too fast, moving too quick, being too hasty, you lose the ability to discuss things. So not only do you have to converse with people and try to get them on a similar page so they can understand where you're coming from, you got to be able to have the conversation in such a way that you're able to meet them where they are, and you are able to discuss the things that are necessary for a connection to be made. Even the most backwater tribes should have democracy if you give them time. It trends towards democracy, but they will take a very long track towards tribalism. The bending arm of democracy, which is really to say representation of a group for multiple people that are representative in a tribe, will push towards a type of tribalism. But they will eventually round their way towards having open discussions and moderate acceptance. Because of the fact that people will be tired of being disallowed from having the conversation. The age-old adage that is used by the left, which is, we can't have the conversation because of the way that we're having the conversation, is going to give way to some HonkSHOO-Ass bullshit, as I've described. And the HonkSHOO-Ass bullshit that it's going to give away to is that people are going to get tired of being told that we can't have that discussion and that I'm not talking to this person about it because they decided that this discussion is outside the sphere of their influence. And that you cannot have the discussion this way inherently because of this abandonment of the issue as they choose to describe it from their viewpoint. Because it is effectively and basically, literally a case example of abdication of accountability on behalf of a secondary form of accountability that amounts to nothing. Okay, we're in business. To kick here, I want you. And throw you away. Zanzibar. Should have put the rock first, but that wins. It is the abdication of the group issue that is causing people to not care. Goodbye, Boster. It is the abdication of the conversation that is causing people to not care. And so when you have a discussion like this with people, they're going to roll their eyes if they're basically disinterested in like how things done and how they work. But it's like, in order for you to be able to create and enrich and uphold tradition, you have to form it. So people have to collectively move together in order to decide this is what we're going to do. Example, you guys want to watch movies. You want to hang out. You want to get to know each other. So the first step is instilling tradition. People are going to get together and talk to each other and get to know each other through movie nights. First, start it out slow. Get it to a regimen. Get it to a regime. Get into doing it into a part of participation on a monthly, and we can get to the point where we can do it on a weekly basis, but weekly will be a little bit hard unless I am not the only person who's doing the viewing, which it can very much be done. Then, we then bring people together for more than just movies, because obviously television shows are one thing and movies are one thing as well, but what about video games? bring people together for a gaming night, something that I've been trying to do for years. And after purging all the individuals who are actively sabotaging me, and many individuals choosing to go their own way when they decided that they did not like how I developed into a person that had boundaries, you then create that system, and you vote for it. I ask you, you tell me the day, and I asked you the day, but I didn't ask you the time. You ask the day, I make the day happen, and it's regular, regulated, frequent, consistent. It just, from there, it builds and builds and grows and grows and grows. Every group is going to do that from those positions. Then, any person who happens to be a part of a group, similar like I was describing with the mutual, who left the Discord thinking that he wasn't allowed to participate because he'd been here, but he was basically distracted by work, bring people like that back into the fold. Because there's no reason for them to be concerned about that kind of thing. Why would they be disallowed from being involved in a group that they've been in, they've paid dues to, and they are 100% accepted in, just because they feel like they're disillusioned and not allowed to be involved, because they think that because they've been working and grinding to keep themselves from starving, that means that they'd be disconnected from something that is already guaranteed them. Nappiness guarantees citizenship in my place. All of that can still conform to a type of insect tribalism, but it's not the type of tribalism where all logic goes out the window when someone says the thought-terminating cliche that then disengages conversation. You can still have people come in and be involved. Just when they say the secret magic word, you bring out the mystery mouse tool of common sense, and you have a conversation with them about it. You talk to them. If it's truly bad, you have a PIP. You pip. And if you pip, and you get to the grass tacks that the reason why the person is saying what they're saying is like, oh, I started getting into these incel forums that told me that I should do this, and this. You're like, let's disengage from the incel content. No, just come in, hang out with the group. We're gonna do this every Tuesday. Just come here, don't go there, and stop doing what they're telling you. And let's see if it improves some things. You know? Let's see if it improves your mentality. Let's see if it opens your eyes to a new perspective. You do that. Basic, simple, easy. Welcome back, Saffronet. Basic, simple, easy. Basic, simple, easy stuff that allows you to grasp actual communal involvement. Otherwise, I can't help you. You can't help a person who doesn't want to come in and walk past the door. Speaking of doors, I open my door to you. Hello again, Saf. I was literally going to pull you in earlier, but you left. I pressed the button. There you go.
Hello. Well, there's a thing going on. Some family members. That's why I was called away.
Okay. That makes sense. There had to have been a reason. But I was concerned. How you doing?
I'm alright.
What's new on the block?
I mean, that whole situation I talked about last week, I'm kind of talking that out with another friend of mine, and he said we're gonna find a way to figure that out. Because like, I know you could tell I was like kind of upset about it, but you know, I'm less angry about it now. I was just like, I'll fix that when it comes to it.
Anything else improved?
Not much.
Any new men in your life? Any new boys in your life? Any improvements you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, I'm only supposed to be focused on finding work, and that's about it.
Got any callbacks?
Not right now.
find a card. I don't have any more queens. No twos, no fours. 1, 6. Keep the jack. Any particular opinion? Any particular opinion about any of the things that I've talked about today?
I didn't catch everything. That you said, like, I think even when you started, I was already doing something at the moment. I think the only thing, well, there's a couple things that I was seeing people talk about, and that there was videos about. I don't know if you talked about the Turkey Tom thing going on, and I don't even know what's up with that, really.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
The material details of that particular situation is effectively he has pulled a I'm Alex, but the level of cringe that is happening about it is reaching a fever pitch. I can't necessarily talk without having to put the details in front of us, but I'm going to discuss that at a later date, when I have all the material that I want on the subject matter amounted. It's unironically some high school ass level drama.
It's true.
So I want all the details and facts aligned in front of me so that I can then go through them at my leisure, because I am not happy with the way in which the content is developing based on the information that is at our fingertips, because it is incomplete, and it is also a bunch of he said, she said, and a bunch of other bullshit to which I am not in the interest of micromanaging. So for what it is worth, all parties involved got me fucking HonkSHOO, 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 as I've been describing. Because there's no reason to engage with it if it's not going to be an actual discussion about the shit that is actually obviously happening in front of us. And instead, people basically coping about what's happening in front of us.
I think, there was a whole. I thought it was a little strange where Turkey Tom was going on this whole thing about the losers, creeps, and pedos for like several videos, and I'm like,
I mean,
is it?
I wouldn't necessarily say that that is a thing that devalues his content.
I don't think it devalues his content, but it made me a little suspicious, a little bit.
Okay. Any other thought?
I did miss that other stream where like what was his name? Papa Gut?
Yes.
And like how he had like a very severe reaction about the fraud that's going on during Minnesota, saying that it was fake, and I'm like, but why was like I don't think that's hard to fake, considering that's not the only video that I saw being made about it.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Carl, you could.
No, I'm listening to you talk. Like, we went over the Papa Gut stream. Was there anything particular that I said on that broadcast that specifically resonated with you?
I didn't catch all of it. I didn't catch all of it when you were streaming, because I was also busy the other day. But I watched the video itself because I think it was on Twitter, and I was like, why is he so angry about this? It's like all the places were not legitimate businesses.
Well, when you stake your claim on he's harassing migrants for fun, it's kind of very hard for you to be able to walk it back once you've made a fucky-wucky on this level. That was the goal, to claim that he's just harassing infinity migrants, therefore why is he allowed to get away with this?
Well, I saw the other Nick the follow-up for the Nick Shirley video where I think it was another Somalian man harassing him, saying that he, because of his actions, people are going to send I should laugh at this, send Somalian people into like internment style camps like they did with Japanese people. And I'm like, I don't think that's the solution, and I don't think that's what people want, really. I mean, they want, the fraud to pretty much stop and, like, have people not take up resources that others need. And there are some parts in the video where I think, like they're in these buildings, but I don't know if this sounds like a conspiracy theory or anything like that. I think they're just living in there instead of just actually working there, it seems like.
It appears to me that the people that are inside of the buildings, they are just absorbing the cash of the area, as was discussed with us when Marcus presented the material that activated our almonds on Yap-In 34. It just happens to be the case that they have a lot of people that are sending a lot of money back across the seas to Somalia, and that they are living like kings on the Minnesotan dime. And this pisses off Papa Gut because he thinks that it's just harassing migrants, but he is unwilling to do the basic work of even fact-checking that he has the right street address and the right street name. And then he decides to make that into a natural negative brainstorm. He decides to make that into a forever war because he does not want to address the reality that people can do crime and that they will be dishonest when they are doing the crime. He staked it on his hatred of his friend. He decided to get deep down in the duggies about something that he should have discussed with him off camera, that he instead decided to litigate in his content. And then, after he was done spurging, he's like, oh shit, I'm a fucking retard. Because he realized that he was wrong. After claiming he was right, after mogging multiple people in the chat room, saying he's right, and it's the case that he was fucking wrong. And then it took him embarrassing himself in this way for him to finally grasp that he was fucking wrong. That level of baked-in delusion is something that has the entirety of that state bent over backed knee right now in a way that they can't be able to actually talk about discussion. Because, literally, here's an example of somebody blaming the liberals for reducing his reach. He can't discuss it because his position is bought in on antagonism, not the reality of what's happening on the ground. He's angry about his TikTok account, but he's completely disengaged because he doesn't want to talk about the fact that he got information wrong that he could have fact-checked in front of himself because he was looking at MapQuest, and he didn't look at the fact that fucking Cedar Avenue South and Cedar Avenue were the exact same street because he completely didn't look at the numbers. That kind of mistake is emblematic of all conversations and cultures. Literally, he did the thing that many people have been annoyed with. I know it annoys the piss out of me. I hate when a person decides to stop talking and then decide that the conversation begins and ends when they decide. I completely check out when a person does that. That annoys the piss out of anybody. That is something that he chose to do. And it demonstrated the annoyance that most people have with the conversations politically. Because extrapolate that over to the situation happening in the state itself. Oh, we can't investigate the crime that's happening. Why? Because that's racism. It's racism to investigate that crime. Because it's just harassing migrants. Bullshit. Inherently bullshit. But that's what he wants to believe. That's what he wants to believe. That's what he wants to go down with. So since he's ideologically locked into that position, the only way to get him out of that position is to embarrass him. Should not be the case, but that's what has to happen. Should not be the case, but that's what has to happen. Now, of course, you said that you didn't watch all of it, so you probably can't engage with that particular part of the broadcast. But the fact that the content goes all the way up to the almost exact end of the broadcast, that he then realizes his mistake. How is it that he didn't realize that mistake sooner? Before that moment. That should have been his call-in. That should have been the wake-up call. But he didn't figure it out until literally a minute from ending his broadcast. And then he tries to destroy the broadcast and tries to hide the material that proves his mistake. That should disqualify him from ever being allowed to complain about anything ever again. Because, nigga, I remember when you crashed out on your friend live on air. Granted, everybody's been there in some particular way. I'm not saying that I'm innocent of this in some particular matter. There have been case examples of where you could probably say I've done something conclusive or similar to its degree. But what we're talking about here is magnitudes. We're talking magnitudes. Ouch, itchy, ow, ow, itchy. We're talking magnitudes of problems. Shit that should be easily fucking digestible of why it shouldn't happen with discussions and why you don't get so fucking hasty to stop people from talking to people. But he played stupid games and he won stupid prizes. I do not feel sorry for him. No one should. He's a big boy. He knew better. He's a big boy and he knew better. You have anything to add to that?
I mean, I'm just surprised at how much people can be confidently wrong online.
Shit happens. There's always going to be people who can be confidently wrong. It can happen to anyone. It can even happen to me. It can even happen to you. But checking yourself is one step. Having friends that will help you check yourself is another step. But bringing it back to what I was talking about earlier, you have to have the conversation. You have to have the conversation. If you don't have the conversation, then there is no learning. The ending of learning is the beginning of death. If a person is actually not listening to you and not talking to you, that you can definitively show proof that they are not listening to you and not talking to you, then you are 100% in your right to say whatever you want to say. But if the conversation begins and you end it by saying, no, I decide what we talk about, then you don't get to complain about what happens next. Inherently, you do not get to complain about what happens next. Because you chose to remove yourself from the conversation. So, I'll give you an example. If you say something along the lines of, the grown folks are talking, if you are somebody who's a youth, and you're like, bro, I'm trying to describe to you the fact that there's a man that's about to attack us with a giant bazooka. Hey, yo, shut that shit up. Grown folks are talking. Whatever happens next, you deserve. Because you were uninterested in the information. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Disinterest in the information does not preclude the information from affecting you. By all means, a person can choose to remove themselves from a situation and say, well, you see, I'm not gonna engage with this, that, or the other because I decided the way that I should do things is this, and this. And at the end of the day, it still doesn't matter. You still have an abdication. You still have a responsibility to the thing that is happening. If you cannot be able to address that, then you are responsible for the lack of accountability that you took towards the thing in question that is being discussed. Like, it very much sucks that is the case of how most people choose to go about the discussion. But I'm of the energy that if you choose to go about things that way, then that's what's gonna fucking happen. You don't get to abdicate responsibility and then say, bro, I choose to be involved in the behavior and the decision making, but I choose not to accept the consequences. No, you have to accept all of them. You have to accept all of it. All of it has to be accepted. Otherwise, we're just doing shit. You get what I mean? Anything else you particularly want to talk about?
There's nothing coming to mind right now. Like, I'm sorry, I've been firing on all neurons lately.
Getting enough sleep?
No, I'm not sleepy or anything. It's just that, I feel less prepared to, with topics these days. Because I feel like, I try to be mindful and understand that, not every topic will be interesting.
Oh, hold it. But yeah, it is the case that when it comes to these matters, that is pretty much the flow. That's the flow chart of how most of the conversations are really technically going to go. And I understand where you're coming from. You have been in my prayers for about the last month and a half.
Who, is me or somebody else?
No, you have been in my prayers. Especially concerning the fact you still haven't found work. Not to get too personal if you don't want to open up about it.
Well, it's just it's just basically a lot of challenges and my mood not being in the best state of mind.
Particularly something keeping you out of the right state of mind?
Well, it's just a lot of stressful stuff that's happened since, I want to say since last year.
Okay.
I didn't want to really I didn't want to really just start talking about it with everybody.
You don't have to. You control the conversations you're a part of.
It
Take your time.
it just feels like I don't really have that many people in my corner, really. I mean, not like online, but more like in real
IRL.
life.
Yes, IRL.
Yeah. And, I'm put in situations where I can't really ask for help. And if I do ask for help, I kind of get, a backhanded statement. I was like, oh, you should learn how to do this by yourself. And like, you offered to help me. I don't understand why you're saying this.
Has this been happening frequently?
I mean, it's been happening for a very long time. I think it started happening even before I was an adult. It feels like a lot of times I can't ask for help, and times where I did need the help, I had to go through somebody else who wasn't my family.
Would you say that this has made you feel very much put in a position where you feel put on to address a deeper problem that you don't feel like you have the answer for? Yes, no, maybe so.
I said yes.
Oh,
Like,
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. The cadence in which you usually speak didn't come through to me. I'm sorry. So yes, you do feel like they've made you feel abdicated and isolated from the assistance that you're asking for, so that you feel you can reach improvement.
yeah.
Have you spoken to these people directly to tell them that they have put you in this position?
There are times that I have, but I felt like it kind of fell on deaf ears, because there were times where I would try to do things to improve myself, but then I would get like, comments saying that I wasn't doing it right, or or I wasn't doing it well enough, and I don't have like a lot of funds to get certain things, so it makes it harder for me to actually take care of myself, because I don't often have money on hand. It's like anything extra I get is through like any kind of like side art projects that people want me to do.
Have you considered going to counseling about this?
I have, but it didn't work out as well as I thought it would.
I feel like from having heard you speak on this kind of issue before, that it might be prudent and also time for you to take the people in question that are putting you in this position to therapy.
I tried that once, and it's just really uncomfortable because you know, like one of them is not exactly receptive to this idea, and how they told the counselor that basically I didn't want to improve on anything.
This was their opinion to the counselor about you.
Yes.
And what did the counselor say?
I don't exactly remember what he said. I think he just kind of like let them talk. I think he told them the things that I've said and the issues that I've had. Because I said something along the lines of, it's hard for me to actually talk to them because they just give me a whole lecture about how I'm not good enough or I'm not mature enough and can't do anything right, really.
And these are the same friends and family that have been basically at the core of the issue since before. Have you considered beating a nigga's ass?
I don't think that would really solve anything.
I feel like it'll solve a lot. I feel like it would solve a lot, specifically in your situation. Because this is like what, the 10th time we've basically had a version of this conversation?
Well, I mean, I guess, but
Take your time.
I guess it's just that I don't think violence is the answer, and it's not gonna really solve anything. Because like my whole thing is like, I don't want to end up my whole thing, my whole life is like, I didn't want to end up just being violent because I've had violent outbursts before, and I know that's not me. I don't want to hurt other people and that like that. So I had to do a lot of self-reflection and say like, look, me being violent and angry all the time is not going to really solve much.
Well, for what you described to me, whenever we choose to talk about this, you are in what is classically known as a stunlock situation. The professional word would be holding pattern, but we call it a stunlock. You've got a series of decisions that you need to make, but you're not able to move forward and make the decisions that are required of those situations because the decisions that you need to make are not simple and easy. And as they are not simple and easy, the more you have to be forced into situations like this that make you have to do them, the more you find yourself treading a loop. And that loop gets more and more aggressive every time you have to travel it. Right now, you're suffering the consequences of a holding pattern that has put you in a position where you don't feel like you're able to express yourself. It has gotten to the detriment of your character that a lot of people around you, myself included, are concerned with your state of mind and being. The only path forward is really in your hands. We can't make the decision for you. Both because that would prevent the breakthrough that you necessarily require and need for you to be able to reach a point where you feel like you're capable of actually making decisions and business and blah, 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 blah in your life. But most importantly, also so that the people that you feel are not hearing you are able to actually see you in your truth. One of the many instances where in your truth is being used in proper context. This problematic abdication is at the core of a lot of things that I would say are the root of self-esteem problems for you. Would you disagree?
No, I don't.
So, for me, having heard from you many times the things that you discussed, I would have already beat somebody's ass about it. Now, a little bit of that, truthfully, a little bit of that is flippant. I'm not necessarily directly telling you that you must commit violence on people. I mean, I would have raised hell. I would have given people ultimatums. I would have told them, explain to me why this is how you choose to behave, and if you can't answer it, get out of my house. Because certainly, you have had to experience a very significant level of involvement from this kind of hard-headedness this group is particularly putting upon you, that you feel like you have to step on eggshells around them to discuss this. And for me, that puts me in a state of distress, because I hear your distress, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's like hearing from my partner Star about something that she's doing, and that what she wants me to do is give her an ear, and I give her my ear, and I ask her, how do you feel? And she tells me how she feels, and I try to ask her, so what are you going to do about it? And she says, nothing, I'm just stressed. That stresses me out, because it's stressing you out, and you clearly need some type of relief from the thing that's happening. Or you have to find ways of putting it out of your mind so you can, what it is, until you can get to a point where you can solve the problem for later. I have plenty of issues that are like that myself right now in my life. One of them, especially being my current living situation and how my life is going. I can't solve some of those problems because it's based on money. I can't solve the other problems because it's based on location and time and a life plan and money. Without getting into the necessary nitty-gritty, the same way that you don't want to do it either, for your particular thing, on these particular issues and the people who are involving it, and blah, 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 blah. The problem here is that the things that are in your control, you have to do something. Because it is in your power to do something. Do you agree or disagree that you have some level of power over what's currently happening, that you can make a decision about how you want to approach going about it?
I mean, I can try and do something.
Right. You've already made one decision, which is that I am not in a position where I am comfortable to speak about this openly on a broadcast. That is a choice. A choice that I respect. So that is already a beginning of decision. Now you just have to put other choices in the decision matrix. I am no longer going to allow this around me. I'm no longer going to allow this as an answer to something that I consider to be a serious concern. I am no longer going to allow this about a thing that I consider to be a serious problem. I'm no longer going to allow this. I'm no longer going to allow that. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. Those are the decisions that I'm telling you that you have to make, which is what that's what I'm effectively selling up when I say I would have beaten his ass about it. Like, I would not go into a cold, sweet good night without my opinion being heard and my position being clearly stated. And if at that point they continue to ignore what it is I'm saying, foot in ass. Because it's eye-roll worthy, which is effectively what I mean by HonkSHOO, HonkSHOO, HonkSHOO. Like, we're sleepwalking. We're not really getting to the source of the matter. Y'all niggas don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. For your situation, one of your first concerns is money, namely a job. Then, your concern is that people that are around you are not directly invested in your life in such a way that they are capable of understanding that they are directly responsible for the emotions that they're putting on you and how it is directly having a negative side effect to your stimuli and to your mind state. To relieve the pressure of both of these issues, because one isn't going to necessarily be fixed immediately by the other, but it's like, can you shut your ass up so I can find a job? Level discourse that you have to engage in here. You gotta be able to do something to give yourself the mental capacity to have the ability to breathe so you can handle all the other problems that are directly happening in your life. Yes, you agree with this?
I agree.
So you just have to make a choice. That's all you gotta do. The power is in your hands. The power is yours! And certainly, with the powers vested in my hairline, you can find some way to approach it. I don't know what the fuck to tell you what you should do. Only you know what you should do. Basically, you have to kick yourself in your pants, get in touch with your inner star player, and negotiate who's going to be responsible for saying the words that come out of your mouth. Go through your own euphoria moment. Because this is where your life is going to start feeling like and acting like it is a movie. Hello, Tusky. That's all I can really tell you. Other than that, the more we talk about it, the more it's gonna be emotionally putting you in a position where you don't feel like you can necessarily really be able to move past this problem, Saf. Because I don't want you to talk yourself into being depressed. Because the irony is, there have actually been some people who have tried to come to me and they're like, Carl, why are you trying to milk this girl for clout and attention?
What?
Yes. There are people that when they hear into the show, when they watch it, and they hear us describing and discussing things that you choose to tell me about your life, and we're having conversations about it, they come to me and they will say, lol, you're monetizing this girl for money and attention. Shame on you.
First of all, I don't see it that way. And I've had some of these conversations before. Just that lately I've been trying not to really bring it up because, I thought it would cause issues.
And cause me no issues.
Well, yeah, it's just that
for yourself.
I am kind of in a precarious position because I'm not in a place where I'm exactly private or by myself, so I have to be careful with my wording.
Yes, and that's completely fine. I have never not allowed you to have that space and have that timing. I've never twisted your arm to make you tell me something. And yet, unfortunately, niggas! I can't stop it. I can't control it. I can tell them to fuck off and that they don't know what they're talking about, but and they move at a mile a minute. For the people who are on the audio portion of the stream, I'm holding up my right hand and I'm moving it up and down like a puppet's mouth at a speed of 100 words per minute. Niggas talk. Niggas yap. Niggas be fucking jibber-jabbering. No matter what the fuck I say or what happens on camera, there are people who just discuss this shit and then gossip about it. Don't tell people the full story about it. And all of a sudden, me having a serious adult conversation with another grown adult becomes Carl's monetizing a member of his audience for clout. Last year, I would have just allowed it to remain in silence. This year, I'm putting a nigga on the spot and I'm making them address it. And I'm bringing that to your attention because it's an accusation that's being made of you, towards me, about me, and you. and them basically trying to advocate that you are helpless and you don't have any agency, and that somebody needs to save you from me. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
I think that claim is a little ridiculous because I've known Carl for a little while. It's like we've had similar conversations like on stream and off stream, and right now it doesn't bother me really because I mean I have time to really kind of relax a little bit. It's just that it just makes the situation I'm in just makes me stressed, and I'm not gonna be afraid to say that, but it's stuff that I have to do, like being independent at the end of the day is like a lot of stuff that I have to take care of, even though I don't have the support of many other people. And I guess that comes with the hurdle of like being an autistic adult, and kind of sadly learning that a lot of people see you as like a not really human type of deal.
Mm-hmm. Lord, I've been there before. So, like, ultimately, my concern at the end of the day is I always give a helping shoulder and a listening shoulder to whoever needs to communicate. While certainly long pauses and long stretches of supposed dead air is like whatever, I've never not allowed people to have the opportunity to come on and speak. It is the continued constants that the people that have these opinions that keep coming in my DMs or going online and discussing this shit in places they think that I don't hear about, that I don't even have to go digging for it. There are people who bring it to me to make me aware of it. They continue not to call into the show. Some of which they know why they can't. It's because they've misbehaved in my audience and they've been banned for doing so. But for the people who are basically repeating gossip and rumors from other people, they are not engaged here, so they have no idea what the actual context is. Either way, to the core of the matter, what we were discussing, you just have to make a decision about how you want to go about the issue, and then decide how you're going to solve your problem. And I'm more than certain that people here in my audience will support what you're choosing to do. And whether the people in your life choose to support what you're doing, count up how many people are actually behind you. Count up their sins. Count up the amount of people who are behind you and thank them for their support. Count up the amount of people who are not behind you and are just basically being fair weather. And be prepared to put a foot, metaphorically, up their ass. Because direct aggression in the form of being assertive is what you need. You need to be assertive. You need to have forward energy, maximum effort. You can't charisma your way into a job, but you can definitely charisma your way into, this is my life, these are my standards, these are my rules, this is what's happening, this is how I do discussions. No, I am not compromising this. And you will see how people will fall in line. Okay?
Okay.
That's at least my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm always right. I'm saying that this has worked for me. Sometimes it can backfire. But technically it's only backfired twice. But in both of those cases, it was a decision that was made by the other two people. So, nothing else I can really say there. However, the time, ladies and gentlemen, is now 6:06. I need to go prepare dinner, and then I will return after these Carl messages. Thank you all for coming in and calling in to Yap-In number 36. I am Carl, this is my chat, and we will see you. Same Carl time, same Carl channel. Goodbye, everyone.